Welcome back, everyone. Today is a very special day. So special, in fact, that I've actually cleaned my workbench because today is the day that I've received my parcel from TJ Brutal Customs in the States. I placed this order back in July. I think it's now September. It was quite a big order, probably about $2,000 worth of stuff, mainly because the shipping was fairly expensive and the import tax was fairly expensive. So I only wanted to do it once. So I ordered everything that I wanted to buy for this bike all in one go. There was some other things going on at the time, like I went on holiday. Some stuff was on pre-order. Other bits weren't in stock yet. So a couple of emails back and forth, and I said, look, just wait until you've got it all. I'm not going to be around between these dates, so I'm quite happy to wait. So I basically said, when you got it all, chuck it in a box, send it all in one go, which is exactly what they did. They were super helpful. I even made a few changes after after placing the order. Some things I wanted to swap over. That wasn't a problem. They were really helpful with that, and it is finally here. It arrived today. I've not opened it yet, so I'm going to do that now, and we can have a look at what's in here together. All right, this is going to be somewhat of a wobbly video because I'm kind of looking what I'm doing and trying to keep the camera pointed at the box. So this is very exciting. I love getting stuff. I love stuff, especially motorbike stuff. So I have ordered in here, I don't know, like 20 things, big and small. Ooh. Packaging. Let's have a look. What do we got? Okay. I don't know where anything is, so I guess we just dig in, do fun shit. That's what we like. That can go up here somewhere. That'd be nice. Right. Let's see. So I have ordered the Solo Bobber seat kit. So these are obviously the springs for that. What else we got? Mystery box. We'll open that in a bit. Oh, very heavy. Tune-up kit. That's the ignition tune-up kit. So that will be the spark plugs and the ignition boot, spark plug boots and the ignition wires. Open that in a bit. Oh, look at this guy. The short bobber fender. Oh my god, that is short. That is very short. That's nice though. I kind of only wanted one so my shirt didn't get sucked down into the tire. Yeah, that's gonna look really nice. Obviously not going on this bike. This bike is just gonna sit there for a while. That's nice. I was really concerned that because I've also bought the Precio bolt-on kit for this, so I was kind of worried that this would be too large just to be bolted to the kit on itself. But this is nice. This is pretty small, so that's nice. Good size, like that. Rubbish. What's this thing? Oh, this is the E-tank. Electronics tank. Do you know what? I'm just going to get this stuff out for now, and then once it's all out, we'll look at it properly then. Oh man, this stuff's really heavy. I like it. I can go there. A little teeny weeny box. What's this? No idea. Mystery box. Oh, another box. We like boxes. Not sure what this one is. Box. Oh, this is a seat pan. Big enough for my ass, I think. I'll probably get this upholstered at some point. Yeah, that's nice. Like that. God, it's chunky material, I tell you. What's this? Don't know. Mystery box. Another mystery box. It's gonna be fun opening these. I've ordered a lot of little things, so I'm kind of gonna make sure I definitely dig these out. Obviously, I've got an exhaust pipe in here. You probably gathered that by now. Ah, yes, here we go. Hardtail kit. The steel for the hardtail kit. So this is what I've been waiting for before I can actually do anything on this frame. I didn't want to chop the frame before I had this. And also now that I've got it, I can do more measurements and cut out bits that I want on here, get rid of a lot of this stuff, get rid of a lot of stuff on the other side of that thing. Yeah. So basically the frame modifications have been sort of waiting for this. So I've sort of been stuck in a bit of a limbo with the frame until that came. So I think this could be it in here for now. And here's the exhaust. This is the... I'd have to double check, but this is the... I think this is the Backdraft dump out exhaust in chrome. Basically, well, it's hard to show. This is obviously the wrong side of the bike. It comes back sort of this way and then sort of dumps out onto the out into the side. Yeah, that's nice. I like that. I'll get all that out properly very shortly. Right. Anyway, I think that is most of the stuff. Ooh, what's this? Mystery sticker. Oh yes. Let's see. I don't know if there's any teeny tiny little parts to say about. I doubt there is. They're probably boxed up. But I will double check through this before I chuck all this out. Anyway. Yeah. Let's get this stuff open. Oh, where do we start? Where do we start? Where do we start? Smallest to largest or something? I don't know. It doesn't really matter. Okay, where's my knife gone? So this, I'm guessing, is the UCOR tank, which is the Universal Coolant Overflow Reservoir tank. This replaces that horrible plastic junk that sits underneath the bike. This was one of the things that was on pre-order that I had to wait for. But it's lovely and small. That is nice. So I'm considering getting this powder coated along with the frame. That's really nice. I like that. I think this is like a aluminium lid or something, or stainless. Not sure. Very nice. Yeah, this feels really nice as well. Etched on the bottom. Like that. Right. I'll tell you what, put that back in the box. Otherwise, I'll ruin it. These are obviously the fitment to the brackets of the frame, and then the little hose connectors for the coolant pipes. So let's have a look at this guy, the E-tank. So this holds all your electronics. That's nice and chunky. I like that. Got the logo on the side there. Yeah, it's on both sides. Yeah, that's nice. I'm guessing these are the coil mounts for the ignition coils, because I know that this comes with where are they? Pre-drilled holes, so you can relocate your coil mounts. And what's nice is if you buy the ignition tune-up kit, the cables that come with the tune-up kit are long enough for you to be able to mount your coils on this tank and still reach the locations where the spark plugs go. Yeah, these are nice. So these obviously bolt onto here. Your coils then fit into these guys, and then everything electronic is stored inside this. Ends are removable. That's nice. So I'm thinking of using the Motor Gadget M unit for this bike. The wiring loom I've got is the original wiring loom, but it has been modified and it is a complete mess. That's the same with this other bike too. I never really rewired a bike. The old Bandit Street Fighter that I did, that had already been rewired. So, but all the original connectors were there. So I basically just stuck with parts that I could just plug and play. But this will be one that I really want to try and rewire. You've probably seen in a couple of other videos I've got these wiring diagrams here. I've also found one specific for the Shadow which uses the M unit, so I'm going to try and replicate that and hopefully be able to use the M unit on this, because I just like the idea of updating the electrics. Yeah, like the electrics on the loom that I've got are just such a mess, and there's bits missing, bits have been added. I don't know where any of it goes. The colours don't match the wiring diagram, and you know, there's connectors missing. There's stuff that's been added that I don't know where that came from. So I thought, you know what, I've never done wiring before, why not give it a go? So that's what I'm going to try and do with this one. Anyway, what do we got? E-tank. Yeah, so all the electronics go in here. Obviously with an M unit you don't really have that many electronics because the relays and stuff get replaced by the actual unit itself. So yeah, I'm gonna put it all in here. A couple of extra holes for the regulator rectifier that sits on the back here as well. So your coils and your rectifier sit on here. Nice fresh air, keeps them nice and cool, because those components get pretty hot, so you don't want to put them inside there. But that's nice. This is big and chunky like that. Put that back in there. Put that with it. And what do we got? Tiny box. What's in the tiny box? Oh, this is the single throttle cable conversion thing. So obviously, I keep saying obviously, it's not that obvious, but basically on the original bars, these are not very good, but basically they're in a bad state and almost nothing came on them. I've got the original controls, but they were smashed to bits. The wiring was all knackered. They're really rusty on the inside, so I won't be reusing these. So this little unit, this gets rid of the push cable. So essentially your throttle pull cable goes in here, and then the push cable becomes redundant, so you just get rid of it. You don't need it. I think the springs on the carbs are powerful enough to, you know, close them. You don't need a cable to push them. So that's it. Speaking of springs, these are the springs for the seat. So I did find some springs in that box. You know, the big crate of parts that came with this bike. They're not like these. They're more like a coil spring, which is probably fine. I probably could have used them, but these come with the kit. So these are what I'm gonna use. I should also have I don't know what's in here. I should also have some seat post, weld-in seat post mounts. For that comes with the seat pan kit. These are the velocity stacks for the carbs. These are nice. Yeah, so this is one of the things that was out of stock. I think on my original order I ordered gloss black. I didn't actually realise that was an option. I just thought it was black, silver or brass. So I just ordered black. And then by the time everything came back in stock, the gloss black ones went out of stock. So I said, well, I'll have the matte black ones if it speeds up the process. So that's what they swapped out and sent out. And these are lovely. I really wasn't bothered whether they were gloss black or matte black. I just wanted them to be black. Some tiny little grub screws in there I should probably keep an eye out for. Make sure I don't lose those. But these are nice. I like those. I'm going to say that a lot. I like that. I like this. I like all of it. Okay. Yeah, the velocity stacks. So they go on the carbs to extend the I don't know what it's called. I do know what it's called. It begins with V, but I've completely forgotten. The chamber, the chamber where the air gets sucked in. So they extend those when you take off the air box. What have we got in here? Ah, the grips. Yeah, so I've ordered some machined grips. This, I think these are, what are these, aluminium? Machined grips. These are nice. These go with the throttle assembly. So obviously the cable goes in here. This goes inside this guy, and there's your throttle grip and the other one, clutch handle grip, I guess. They feel really nice. They look really nice too. Quite light. Right, what else? What else? This is the ignition tune-up kit. So this should be... Oh, there's loads of stuff in here. Okay. They've obviously used this box to pack in all the little bits that I ordered. I'll tell you what, let's do this one, because there's loads of stuff in that other one. This, I'm not sure what it is. We shall find out together. Ah, this is the... Okay, so when I ordered the... this is the battery box. So when I ordered the hardtail kit, the hardtail kit came with the E-tank, the... obviously the hardtail kit itself, so the steel tubes, and also it came with the battery box for the anti-gravity lithium battery, which they're quite expensive, and I'm not against using them, but while I was reading bits and bobs here and there was also some comments about you also need a different battery charger for the anti-gravity battery. You also could run into issues with your regulator rectifier not being correct to be charging the battery properly. I don't know how accurate that is. I do know you need a different charger for the lithium ion battery compared to a normal like lead acid or gel battery. So this was one of the changes that I asked for. I didn't realize they sold a weld-in battery box for the stock battery. So this one, if I can get it out, is literally just a steel box which you can weld into the frame. Now I think this, we could probably test it out actually. Let's have a look. So this should fit down in here where the original what's it called, the original coolant reservoir goes. So yeah, this sort of goes in here. I might need to do a bit of jiggery pokery, but this pretty much sits under here and houses the stock battery. Now the battery I've got isn't the massive old stock battery. It's like a normal motorcycle battery, I guess. But yeah, so I asked for this one instead of the anti-gravity battery, and they kindly obliged. So that's nice. I'll have to get some sort of nice little strap to go over that, and I can probably weld that in myself. So that's nice. I'm not going to try and put that back in there because it took long enough to try and get it out. So that can just go back in the box. Alright, now we have a box of loads of stuff. So this is, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. So this is, I believe, the stainless bolt kit Now I do have stainless bolts already that I took out of the engine casings, but they were all weird lengths and they didn't quite reach the threads properly, so I thought, you know what, I'll get a new one. And the ones that I saw that I could buy in this country were about £16–17. The one that TJ Brutal Customs sold was equivalent to about a tenner. So you could argue that I paid for it in tax and shipping, but you know what, I just added it on. It wasn't very much, so that's nice. These are the slide breather vents for the carbs. I'm going to get the carb. So usually you have these plastic things here. These tubes, the breather tubes, I think go to the old airbox. So what you can do with these is you can leave these open or put a little vent, not a vent, you could put a, what am I trying to say? You could put a little tube on there to extend that, I think. But what I've opted for is these little breather vents, which are tiny little bag in a bag in a bag. Let's see if I can get these out. Get this out of the way. Yeah, these are very nice. Aluminium. So these essentially take the place of these little breather tubes here. So they just pop straight in there. They've got a little sponge filter. They've got a little mesh. I assume like pressed steel or something like that. And a little circlip. Keep that in place. They look nice. So yeah, they take the place of those. Obviously I haven't cleaned these carbs up yet. The reason for that is because when I ordered this stuff, I also ordered the performance kit. So these are, well, these exhaust gaskets come with the exhaust pipes. Get rid of these. Yeah, the reason I haven't cleaned the carbs up yet is because I also ordered the tune-up kit, not the tune-up kit, this performance kit. So I've got new jets and new O-rings, float needle valves. They're all in there. What we got here? Oh yeah, the fuel mixture screws. So these replace, where is it? I'm not even sure they're on here. There's like a, it's in here somewhere, I'm not really sure where. Could be this thing. It's not this thing. It's like a screw that goes in. So it's, I think it's in here. Right down in there. It's a horrible grubby little screw with a little O-ring and a spring and a washer. But yeah, these replace that. And they're much nicer. These are machined aluminium. What else we got? Replacement stainless bolts for the carbs. And the new, these are the new diaphragms. So they go in the carbs themselves, the slide diaphragms. Because God knows what they look like in there. They're going to be absolutely trashed, I imagine. So yeah, that's the reason I haven't done anything with the carbs yet, is because I was waiting for this kit to arrive. So now this is here, I can sit down in one weekend, get these carbs cleaned up, because they are still filthy, I haven't cleaned them up at all. And then spend a bit of time, you know, chuck them in the ultrasonic cleaner, get those tidied up, and then they can then be rebuilt with all the new jets, the new O-rings, the new gaskets, all that good stuff. Right, what else we got? Anything in here? What else have we got? What else we got? What's this? Ah, this is This is the Fender bolt-on kit. So basically, this bolts onto the swing arm, onto these factory holes here, which is where the old shock used to go. So they bolt onto here, and then I think they either wrap over the top or under the bottom. I'll have to double check. And then you just drill a couple of holes in the fender itself, and then they essentially fit onto there. So that's a kit in itself. That's nice and chunky, like a bit of chunky steel. What else is in the box? Oh, I know what these are. I think this should be the weld-on seat posts for the seat kit, if I'm not mistaken. Oh no. Oh no, it is, but it's also the seat bracket. So that's the bracket that fits onto the same hole as the tank. So that's probably easy to see. So that also fits onto that bolt there. I don't know if it's this one or this one. Figure that out when we come to it. And then you've also got these are your weld-on seat post things to hold your springs. So essentially where these go is on the hardtail kit. You've got the two bits of bent steel that form your frame, and you've got this cross-sectional piece which goes between these, basically where your arse is, and then this welds. You can weld that straight onto there once you've, on either side, and then those sit within your springs. Where are these springs? So these will sit. Springs will sit in here, and then on the opposite side you've got some bolts and things which then go up through your seat pan. So your springs sit between here, in there, with the bolts and the weld-on seat post. These are nice. I like these. I must say, all the machining on this stuff is really good. Really nice, really well done. What else we got? What's this? This is another part for the seat, I think. Yeah, I think this is part of the seat, and then all the fittings for the seat. I'll just chuck those back in there. And then what else? We've got the ignition tune-up kit. So we've got 4 spark plugs, 4 boots, and then enough ignition wire to run from the E-tank to the spark plugs in the cylinders. That's great. And last but not least, definitely not least, it's exhaust. Now this thing looks really nice. I don't want to scratch it. Do you know what? I'm not going to use that. Yeah, I'll see if I can find a picture of it from their website. Yeah, I kind of went with the chrome. I mean, I don't really want to unpackage this because my hands are filthy. I don't want to get fingerprints and stuff all over it. But essentially, this one is I think the rear cylinder. That's still in the camera. And so this, this is the rear cylinder. And this one is and I could have that the other way around. That could be the front cylinder. I don't know. Front cylinder. Okay, rear cylinder. It's something like that. Anyway, yeah, it's gonna look awesome. It looks awesome on the picture. It looks awesome in person. And it is going to be proper loud. I can tell you that. I used to start my old Bandit with a just the link pipe on it, which was longer than this. And this is so short. I don't really want to touch it, but I definitely want to have a look. Oh, it's so shiny. So shiny. I think I've probably spent, well, I've definitely spent, I think probably twice as much on these parts as this particular bike cost. Yeah. I mean, I don't really care. I'm having a great time. I'm having a great time building this thing. And I just love motorbikes in general. So I'm not too fussed about what I'm spending on it. I know some people, it probably isn't worth it because it's an old bike and the parts are expensive. You could probably source them elsewhere for cheaper or so on and so forth. But end of the day, I discovered TJ Brutal Customs on YouTube when I was looking at bobbers, and he had a lot of instructional videos on how to do this and how to do that, and I thought, this is really cool. I'll have a look, see if, you know, building a bobber is probably within my skill set. And that's when I sort of realized that he'd been building them for, you know, 20 plus years, and he had created this company making these parts because he couldn't get them anywhere else. And then obviously it's snowballed from, you know, people being like, I want that thing, where'd you get it from? And he's like, well, I made it. And then so he's obviously started his business selling these parts, and he ships them worldwide, I believe. There might be some restrictions on that, but I don't know. All I know is that he definitely ships them to the UK. Yeah, so I only wanted to do one order. I didn't want to do loads of orders of bits and bobs and have to wait ages. I mean, the shipping was pretty quick. From when it got shipped to when it arrived was probably only 6 or 7 days. It wasn't very long at all. It was only because I went away on vacation and some stuff was on pre-order that it took the length of time that it did. And it was my preference to receive it all in one go. So that was the only reason it took as long as it did. But yeah, I am really happy with the quality of this stuff. And I'm going to have a hard time deciding what to start with now. I'll think about it. I've got some spray paint because I have been spraying stuff. So this is I just did a satin black coat on the, this is the water pump. That's quite nice. And I also sprayed the thermostat. That's quite nice too. Came out nice. And the fan shroud and the fan. Not the fan, the fan motor, I should say. This came out really nice. Yeah, so this was just like a rusty mess before. I mean, this isn't anything special. This is just tough paint, because you're not going to see any of this stuff. Also, the torque arm for the rear, what's it called? The rear, well, not a caliper, but the drum brake arm, I guess. And also the gear linkage, you can't really see it back there. The gear linkage I've painted as well. I like a bit of detail. So I think what I'm probably going to do, the game plan, is I'm going to get this frame chopped and welded. And then I'll probably rebuild the carbs, or do, you know, interchange those things. And then I will start fitting all the parts. Like, there's some fabrication to be done with the rear fender, the bolt on the kit, the weld on battery box. Obviously the carbs needs doing. You know, the wiring needs to be done. Probably better to do all that stuff and mock up this whole bike reassemble it all, get it started and running at least, and then once it's running, strip it back down, because that didn't take very long. I think I did that in the first episode. I think it took about 15-20 minutes. It wasn't very long at all. Strip it back down, and then do the paintwork, do the tank, do the powder coating on the frame, you know, the finishing bits and bobs that make it look really nice. What I'm concerned about is spending loads of money and time doing the paint and then it not firing up. I think it's sensible to probably put it together, get it firing, and then do the rest of it after that. So that's kind of the plan. But yeah, I'm really glad all this stuff has arrived. Like I say, through my own request, I've been waiting a while for this stuff, so I'm really happy that it's all arrived and it's all in great condition. This is going to give me a lot to do, and you guys get to come along with me on that journey. But yeah, I'll just have a look through this box, make sure I haven't forgotten anything. I don't think I have. I'm pretty sure it's all here. Yeah, I'm a happy boy. So yeah, join me in the next one, and we will be doing something. I don't know what it'll be, but we'll be chopping something, or taking something apart, or putting something back together. But yeah, I feel like now we're at that point where stuff can start happening. It's no longer just taking bits off and cleaning them. Now we're actually going to be building things and reassembling a bike. So yeah, join me for that.